Hey everyone, the following conversation is an interview that has been recorded between the CFO of ZEPP Health and myself back in Beijing during my time when I've visited China earlier this year. And now I'm bringing it publicly to the channel for a bit of a context. I've been covering the company ZEPP Health on my channel before. Like if you're one of the earlier subscribers, then you will possibly know my investment thesis in the company and also my, the first thoughts around this company and the coverage of earnings calls and so on. And if you're not one of those earlier ones, then you can go back on the timeline and rewatch them and hopefully also subscribe to the channel. And if you want, give it a like and share this video, because the question is like, why have I stopped covering this company on the channel? And one of the biggest reasons actually is that the company videos for ZEPP Health didn't get a lot of traction, to be honest. So all my time and investment into this company, didn't really raise a lot of interest with viewers. And lately I got some comments, are you still covering the company and so on? And yes, in fact, I am. I'm keep on doing videos on the company in my Patreon community. So if you're, more interested, or maybe you're also already invested in the company, then you can go to dongxi.com/Patreon. Patreon.com/Dongxi. I'll give a link down below. So join the community, and there you'll get occasional videos on the earnings calls or what's happening now, or also, around the stock price. And, of course, this has been a terrible investment and a terrible ride with the company so far. Not only have the fundamentals deteriorated quite a bit, but of course the share price. And unfortunately, the same goes with the viewers of this video content. There's unfortunately very, very low volume in the stock. So sometimes it's only a couple of $10,000 traded on a daily basis. So that's quite counterproductive. It's also a way how, the float is very small, low volume, no interest by retail investors, by institutions, and so on. So, quite a few fundamental problems here already with this stock in order to gain traction. But still, I like to make those type of due diligence videos, company visits, and so on. And luckily, the CFO of ZEPP Health and his team from investor relations, they invited me to come. By the way, as always, this content is not sponsored. The only sponsorship that I get is from my patrons. So that's the way you can support this channel. And by the way, we're also looking to make this a little bit bigger, or a little bit more of a community approach. So looking for people to help us grow this channel, might be a type of an employment or freelance work that we can do together. Or any other idea, please reach out to me, and certainly become a patron for that, and so we can set up a work group maybe. But long story short, so we still do this coverage on the channel, and of course this company has its own types of issues here, but still doing such kind of visits or with the CFO and so on is in my personal interest, and that's why I'm doing it. And the only benefit that I did get from him basically was a watch that we got as a gift. So there's your sponsorship, if you will. By the way, thanks again for the invite, and for this little watch gift here. And yeah, that's as far as I'm biased with this stock. Of course, you should also know that I've also my personal investment with that, and that's possibly all that you need to know. Other than that, I'll now just let the CFO speak. As I mentioned before, this is actually a 1-hour interview. The first part here will be just a couple of minutes. If you're interested for the whole video, you can either subscribe to the Patreon and get the full video on there, or I'll release the other bits bit by bit later on. And maybe you've got some feedback for me in the comment section about how to approach companies like ZEPP Health for the coverage on the channel. This is in a way, this company is trading below its the cash and equity, net equity that's in the company, the assets and stuff. They have even one investment, I think, which is worth quite a bit of the current market cap. I don't know the numbers by heart now, but it's, of course, fundamentally a very, 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 very low valued company. Should that be the case or not? Well, that's up for investors to choose. Ultimately, this is a free market. And so what I can give you is transparency and information. Now, lots of talk from me. Thanks for listening so far. Please enjoy the video. All right, Leon, here we are. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Marcel.
Welcome, everybody. We're right now here in Beijing, China. So this is the headquarters of ZEPP Health. And I just met the CFO here of ZEPP Health. And I'm happy to be here, actually. They invited me to come, which I think is not, normal. So it's good to see that they invited me and now open to discussing, and we just had a brief introduction to each other, gotten to know to each other, and Leon Deng, who is the CFO, he even wanted to do this video already today. So we can discuss a couple of matters today, I think, together here, about the company, about the stock, about investors and what they can look forward to. But maybe we start with your self-introduction. What brought you to join this company, ZEPP Health?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, Marcel. Hello everyone, my name is Leon Deng, and we're here in Beijing. This is the headquarters of ZEPP Health, and then for those you cannot see, we're actually in the Zhongguancun area, which is where a lot of Chinese tech companies' headquarters is based. We're actually in the center of that area right now. It's a great honor to have this chat with Marcel, and it has been a few years due to the China quarantine restrictions, etc., etc. And the moment I found out that Marcel is here traveling in China, I invited him to our office ASAP, right? So thank you for coming here, Marcel. Now, talking about myself, I had a long career in Royal Philips, and actually I was one of the senior finance executives in Royal Philips, one of the youngest with a Chinese background who works in Amsterdam in the global headquarters of Royal Philips. And then for those who knows the company, Royal Philips is a health tech company similar to Siemens and GE, these type of companies, right? And they do hardcore health-related appliances, and then also on bringing the hardcore health technology into the MRI machines, X-rays, etc., etc. Right? That's where I come from, and then in Royal Philips, actually, I was the group treasurer. I was doing a lot of things in that in the finance function. And in 2020, I got the offer from ZEPP Health to join the company in Beijing as the CFO. And I took that offer without any hesitation because, number one, I like...
The food is so good in Beijing.
That's also part of the reason. But I think one of the most important reason is companies' strategy is to connect health with all the technology and the wearables we have, right? And then you know that we are actually making the wearables for the Xiaomi Mi Band. Also, we have the Amazfit self-branded watches. These are selling very well in and outside China right now, right? So I think that's one of the key things which brings me to the company. They are in the core of improving everybody's health, right? And they are actually using the wearable technology and the watches, the band, and different form factors of the wearables to help people to have a better health lifestyle and to have also a better hardcore health information, this type of transformational things the company is working at. So I think that's one of the biggest reason why I choose to step out of my comfort zone in Philips and join ZEPP Health, and which also has a more startup and a young and energetic culture here in Beijing.
Yeah, so that's actually a good keyword, out of the comfort zone, because I would say it possibly wasn't the smoothest journey since you've joined, right? The company is pretty much in transition, so I've covered some of it on the channel in terms of not only the finances, but I think particularly the last earnings call was really the takeaway now that it's kind of becoming an independent company, not so much about Xiaomi anymore, right?
Correct.
Or so what have you experienced so far? How's maybe from a personal perspective, what have you experienced joining this company? Is it like you expected, or was there more difficulties since the 2 years?
No, you kind of describe it very well, right? So I think the company is in a transformation phase, as we describe it, right? And I think one of the biggest transformation the company is trying to do is to transform the company from Xiaomi Mi Band sales as a majority of the company's revenue into the self-branded products, which is Amazfit and ZEPP branded products, as our majority part of the revenue. So if you look at this journey, I think I've been here for a little bit more than 2 years, right? So I can only talk about what I have experienced in this past 2 years. It was not easy 2 years, right? Yeah. Because there are a lot of things happening. But what we can see from a bigger picture perspective is by the time I joined this company, 70% of the company's revenue was Xiaomi business. And as you know, the Xiaomi business, and for those of you who know Xiaomi a little bit, I mean, in essence, they're saying that they are making hardwares at cost, or at a cost plus 5%, right? So then you know that it's actually talking about a volume business with very low profitability, right? And to 2022, I think we're actually transforming this company into majority of our turnover. I think by 2022 full year, our self-branded product stands for roughly 60% of the overall company's revenue. Compared with 2 years ago, more than 70% of the revenue of this company was Xiaomi. So it's actually kind of reversed the Xiaomi and self-branded type of mix in our current 2022 revenue. I think that was the journey which we kind of experienced, and the journey is not over, right? So I think we're trying to, and because we're in this journey, coupled with macro economics and all those China geopolitical risks and Fed tightening, etc., COVID, I mean, I can list a lot on that, right? You see that in the past 4 quarters, it was kind of difficult for the company. From a financial result perspective, the KPIs are not looking so great, right? But as I say, it's actually we're in a transformation type of journey here, and we see the light at the end of the tunnel right now, right? So I think that's in essence. If you ask me a few words in a nutshell on what kind of experienced, yes, for sure, it's not as easy as I expected. Yeah. It's a lot of sweat and tears, right? Yeah. But I see that our cost is under control, our inventory is going down dramatically, our mix is improving, our gross margin is on a steady pace in picking up. So every single KPI I'm monitoring here is actually showing a good progress.
Yeah, would you say the company, when you have to describe it, is it more like a startup company, or is it more already, let's say, a small to medium-sized business company, like a more traditional company? I think one part of it is like the working environment. Is it like chaotic or innovative, or like how would you describe it? And the other one is like, of course, finance guy. And on the one hand side, you are in early stages of some of the revenue streams, I would say. But on the other hand, You also have not a startup finance problem where you need to, for example, reach out to the capital markets in order to get funded, right? It's not idea stage; it's a real product, right?
Correct.
So how would you describe? Is it more startup or more company that is already established?
I think a good way in describing it is probably call it a scale up, right?